So, thinking about a career as a honey extractor, sounds kind of simple, right? Just like scooping honey, basically.
Well, we're about to find out if it's really all it's cracked up to be. We're diving into some resources from RoleCatcher.
These RoleCatcher guides look pretty in-depth,
They
thanks.
really are. They've got everything from like the everyday stuff you do to like industry trends, even how tech is changing things.
Tech-changing honey extraction. Okay, we're gonna have to get into that.
Oh yeah, it's fascinating. But
Yeah.
first, maybe we should start with like what does a honey extractor even do all day?
Yeah, good point. What's the average day like?
Well, the guides really stress the physical part of the job.
Yeah.
You're not just dealing with honey, but the heavy machinery to extract it.
Right, and all those bees can't be a picnic every day.
Exactly. The guides talk a lot about safety because of that. Bee stings are a real risk, obviously. They
Mm.
go into how to minimize that, but still,
Not for the faint of heart, then. You'd need to be comfortable outdoors, probably in some rough conditions, too.
totally. The guides make it clear this is for someone who likes hands-on work and gets that agriculture has its challenges.
Okay, so you're tough, you're not afraid of some bees. What else? I saw them mention some terms I didn't even know, like GMP, HACCP. What is all that?
Oh, good catch. Yeah, those are actually super important in the food industry as a whole. GMP's good manufacturing practices and HACCP's hazard analysis and critical control points.
And what do those mean in plain English?
Basically, it's all about making sure the food is safe. In this case, the honey.
So it's not enough to just get the honey out. You got to make sure it's actually safe to eat.
Right. The roll catcher guides. They emphasize hygiene a lot, handling things carefully, all the stuff that impacts honey quality. Like they even say you got to be able to tell different honeys apart by color, texture, even what pollen's in it.
Wow, there's a whole science to it. Didn't realize it was so complex.
It is. And when you think about it, there's tons of honey varieties, right? Wildflower, clover, buckwheat, all different.
So you do need to know what you're doing. Speaking of which, the guides mentioned technology advances, and I gotta ask, what's high-tech about honey? I picture someone hand cranking a centrifuge, not exactly cutting edge.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The old hand crank image, that's pretty classic. But honestly, tech is changing how honey's made. Every step, even extraction. The guys were talking about these modern machines, way easier on the honeycombs, apparently.
Easier. How's that matter for the honey itself?
So it's like this, less damage to the combs means the honey's better quality in the end, less likely to have bits of comb in it. Plus, it keeps those like unique flavors and smells each honey's got.
Ah, so you're not just being gentle for the bees' sake. It actually impacts the taste.
Exactly. And like any job, right, there's room to grow. Roll catcher, they actually lay out different paths you could take, starting as a honey extractor.
So you've mastered getting the honey out, worked your way up. What then? You become like a honey sommelier. Is that a real job title?
Honey sommelier. I
Oh,
like it.
okay.
Maybe not an official title, sadly. But you could get really specialized, like in a certain kind of honey or from a certain place known for it, you know?
That'd be so cool. Like being the expert on, I don't know, Manuka honey from New Zealand or something.
Right. Or you go the management route in charge of a whole team of extractors or running production for some big honey company. Some even start their own honey farms, whole businesses. Depends on what you're into.
Wow, so there's actually a career ladder here. But let's back up a sec. You're just starting out, got to get hired first.
Yeah.
What kind of questions do they ask a wannabe honey extractor?
Well, RoleCatcher said employers, they want people passionate, obviously, but you got to K-endo the job too. So expect questions on like extraction methods, the hygiene stuff we talked about, maybe even if you can tell honeys apart on the spot.
Makes sense. Got to prove you're not just there for the beekeeper suit, cool as they are.
Exactly. And remember those acronyms, GMP, HACCP? Those might pop up too. They want to see you get how important food safety is, all that.
So, knowledge IS power in this case. But here's where things got really interesting to me. RoleCatcher, they don't just give you info, they use AI on their platform.
Now that's where the future of job hunting comes in, yeah.
AI and job hunting kind of feels like we're in a sci-fi movie, right?
It's definitely futuristic, but it's becoming more common than you might think.
So what, like, instead of just practicing your answers to yourself, you're doing it with a computer. That's wild.
It's pretty cool, actually. You can run through your answers, the AI gives you feedback, even suggests things for your resume.
Hold on, it helps with your resume too. That's amazing. It's like having a career counselor on demand.
That's the idea. It can point out parts that aren't working so well, help you sound more confident. It's a game changer, especially for anyone new to this whole job hunting thing.
Makes it a lot less intimidating too. I remember how nerve-wracking interviews used to be.
Totally. And honestly, this just shows how important it is to roll with the punches, tech-wise. The job market's always changing, and the more open you are to new tools and tech, the better off you'll be.
This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. We started with, like, the physical stuff, working with bees and heavy machinery, then it was food safety, all those regulations, and now AI. Who knew there was so much to being a honey extractor?
It's amazing when you really dig into it how complex the food industry is and how it connects to stuff you'd never think of, like tech and agriculture, all in one job.
It definitely gives you a new appreciation for that jar of honey in your pantry.
Right. It's not just honey, it's a whole story. Skill, dedication, and now even some high-tech help along the way.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the life of a honey extractor, I'm curious, what surprised you the most about all this?
Hmm. That's a good one. I think for me, it's that balance between old and new. Like
Yeah.
beekeeping, that's ancient, right? But it's being shaped by cutting-edge technology in ways we're just starting to see.
I love that. It's not just about taking honey from a hive anymore. It's about understanding the hows and whys, the art and science of it all, maybe even finding your own place in that mix of old and new.